So I'm sure that by now we've all heard the news about the Bungie layoffs. It's a situation that has been plaguing the community for the past week or two, and has been the topic of discussion since the news broke. However, one question that I've had since the news broke is simply, what's going to happen for the future of Destiny? Well, today I wanted to explore the now uncertain future that Destiny has ahead of it. So with that being said, I'm SniperKH, and let's have an uncomfortable conversation. So I want to start by catching anyone who might be behind on the news up right quick. On Monday, October 30th, several former Bungie developers would go onto Twitter to announce that they had been laid off from Bungie, with some of these developers being some well-known names in the Destiny community and also the Bungie community in general. To name some of the developers that you might know who were laid off, we have Liana Rupperts, or Dirty Effin' Hippie, who was a community manager for Destiny 2, Michael Seacrest, who was the music composer behind Deepstone Lullaby, which is arguably one of the best Destiny 2 songs ever composed, and Michael Salvatore, who is the man behind all, and I mean all, of the Destiny and Destiny 2 soundtracks, but most importantly, he was the man behind the Halo soundtracks. I know that there are some developers that I'm missing from this list, but these were the ones that took me by surprise the most. After the layoffs ended, it was confirmed by Jason Schreier, who is a well-known and very credible gaming journalist, that Bungie had laid off reportedly 8% of their total employees, or roughly over 100 people. And since Jason's reporting, Bungie has came forward with a poorly written PR statement on November 2nd, confirming that there are only 650 employees working on Destiny 2, which is a notable drop in employees. I don't want to go too in detail regarding the situation, as there are plenty of other videos covering the layoffs, so I'll link the best ones in the description below. Also in the description will be the links to Jason Schreier's articles on the situation. Now that we've talked about that, let's discuss the future of Destiny. So, what exactly is going to happen with Destiny? This has been a question that has been speculated on heavily over the past week, and for good reason. With the layoffs at Bungie is now operating with less people, which in turn means less resources they can put into their games. One thing that the community is fairly certain about is how Bungie is going to go about the final shape, which is the big annual expansion we were supposed to get on February 27th, 2024. However, in the same article that announced the Bungie layoffs, Jason Schreier also broke the news that the final shape will be delayed from February 2024 to June of 2024. Now, it's worth noting that as of the time of this recording, Bungie has not confirmed whether this report is true, but as I mentioned earlier, Jason Schreier is credible, as he has broken the news regarding many delays that have happened to previous Destiny expansions. To help back up Schreier's claims, other articles have come forward from anonymous sources claiming that the final shape was getting, quote, good, not great feedback, quote, which is probably why the delay is happening. Of course, due to the delay, this will mean that Season 23, which is slated for a release later this month, will be the longest season in Destiny's history, as it'll run from late November into June of next year, which means the content drought we are going to experience is going to be unreal. However, that content drought has also sparked discussions on what Bungie needs to do, or what the community expects Bungie to do. So I wanted to mention those discussions and talk about why they're not as likely as we'd all hope they are. So what discussions have been sparked in light of the news? Well, unsurprisingly, members of the community have been talking about how Bungie needs to fill the months of content drought we're about to experience with new content. One of the mentions I saw was that they need to make a 30th anniversary styled event for this delay. And while it would be fun to have something like that, I'd rather Bungie instead just lock in and focus on delivering a banger expansion, especially considering how important this expansion is to the story, since it's the story that wraps up the light and dark saga of this story. Another discussion that I saw that I think is completely unlikely is for Bungie to unvault several activities that are currently within the DCV, including raids, strikes, seasonal activities, story missions, and more. And while this would also be really fun, this isn't likely, as Bungie has stated in the past that unvaulting content isn't as simple as flipping a switch. It would need massive amounts of development time to make it work, which they don't really have, since I'm hoping they'd use the now 4 additional months that they have and making sure that the final shape is as good as it can be. So, in saying that, what should you expect for the future of Destiny? Well, let's start with short term, meaning between now and the release of the final shape in June. As I've been mentioning over and over again in this video, prepare for a content drought, one similar to that of the Beyond Light into the Witch Queen days, or the Taken King into Rise of Iron days. We now have 4 months in which there will be most likely nothing to do outside of seasonal events, so it's going to be difficult. Something that I've been seeing a lot is that this time period should encourage players to try out new games. And for those of you who mainly play the game and don't make content, I'd highly agree. While 2023 might have been a bad year for gaming studios and developers, do not think the same for gaming titles this year. There have been some big games to release this year, including but not limited to Diablo 4, Baldur's Gate 3, and Tears of the Kingdom. So you could use this time as a break from the game so that you can come back refreshed for the final shape. Now for content creators like myself, this time period will be rough content wise. As many creators have been making it clear the past couple of days, you should expect for many of your favorite creators to be dabbling into variety content as we get deeper into the content drought. I know that I myself will be doing some variety content on the side while we wait for the final shape to release. Regarding the time period beyond the final shape, well, that's certainly more unclear than ever before. One theory that I've been hearing a lot since the news of the layoffs was broke is that Bungie might be done with annual expansions, as Michael Salvatore and Michael Sechrist were both laid off. So there is a good chance that content droughts as we know them now might be done for good. There is a good chance that Bungie experiments with the new episodes format of content for a while, as they do some experimenting with marathon since that will now be released in 2025. One thing I do want to point out as well, for those of you who are saying Destiny is over or Destiny is done for, while there could be a possibility of that happening in 5 or so years, assuming that marathon pops off, Bungie is simply not going to quit working on Destiny once the final shape is out, as to put it simply, Destiny is their only main source of income. So quitting the development cycle for Destiny without Marathon being a banger would simply be detrimental for Bungie. So I do think Destiny will go on, but maybe just not in the same way as it is right now. Anyways, that'll wrap up this video. I know this topic is kind of old now in this community, but I wanted to give my 2 cents on this topic since outside of Twitter, I've been keeping myself quiet. If you did enjoy this video, then be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more Destiny 2 content dropping weekly. If you'd like to voice your opinions, comments, and or concerns regarding this topic, then drop a civil comment in the comments below, and let's have a discussion regarding this. Otherwise, be sure to check out my other social media platforms linked in the description below. With that being said, I'm SniperKH, and I'm out. Good luck with gaming.